Thank you, everyone, for your all of the sharing you've done in social media. You definitely have accepted the Synergy Challenge. It's been pretty busy out there, which is fantastic. So now we're going to get into the next keynote, which I think you'll all benefit from greatly. I'd like to introduce Jeff Frey. Jeff is the Web Services Manager for Rice University, which is known as the Ivy League of the South. That's supposed to be funny. Just wanted some sort of response. Jeff's role at Rice is really as a catalyst. He's the guy that goes around and goes department to department and evangelizes the benefits of web content management. So he's the guy that goes around and shakes hands and kisses babies and says, yes, it can do that. And then he's also the guy that goes and makes it happen. So Jeff has been a customer of Ektron since like 1999. Anyone here been a customer longer than 1999, by any chance? So Jeff, you win. Congratulations. Good job. I didn't even know we had a product in 1999, but apparently we did. No, Jeff's been with Ektron since the eWeb Edit Pro days and is now obviously a current customer. So with that, I'd like to welcome Jeff Frey.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for having me here to talk. I'm going to tell a story. You know, notice the talk is named Ektron and Six Blind Men, and you'll probably not quite understand that, but I'm going to unpack that really quickly here. There's an ancient story that has been told many, many times, and as good stories often are. And I'm going to use it as an analogy for what I'm going to talk about today. So bear with me. There is a point to this story. We will go into it, and you'll understand it at the end. So many centuries ago, there was a village that had 6 blind men in it. And these 6 blind men had grew up from birth blind, and they're all friends, good friends. And one day, an elephant came to town. And so the elephant shows up, and somebody said to the blind men, hey, an elephant's here. Now, they had never figured out, they had never known what an elephant was. And so they said, well, what's an elephant? So all these villagers tried to explain it to them, and they couldn't quite really grasp what an elephant was. So this one villager took it upon himself and said, you know what, I'm going to bring it to you. I'm going to actually bring it, and you guys can touch it for yourselves. And so that's what the blind men really needed. They said, unless we experience it for ourselves, we are not going to understand it. So the villager, which is this guy right here, notice he's the only one with his eyes open. And we'll talk about why he's got his mouth open in a bit. But the villager took it upon himself and brought the elephant to the 6 blind men and lined all the blind men up in a row and parked the elephant right in front of them. And so once he did that, he said, everybody, reach out and touch the elephant. So this guy up here, he was at the front of the elephant. So he reaches out and he touches it, and he grabs the trunk. And he looks at it, he says, wait, touching it up and down. An elephant's a snake. I get it. An elephant is a snake. Got it. No problem. Hey, everybody, the elephant's a snake. Well, the next guy a little further down, he reaches out and he touches it, and he touches what he thinks is a spear. No, I don't know where you got snake, but it's a spear. And then the next guy down here a little further, he reaches out, he gets an ear. And he says, spear, snake, I've got a fan. I've got this big fan, it's alive, I've got a fan. The next guy reaches out, feels what he thinks is a wall, even climbs up on top of it. It's a living wall. This is, I don't know where you got snake, spear, it's a wall. And then the next guy reaches out and he gets a leg. He puts his arms around the leg and says, I think I got a tree here, guys. I don't know what's going on. And then the last guy, he reaches out, touches the tail, and he thinks he has a rope. Well, a riot ensues among the blind men. And they're all very angry at each other, and they're saying, you're wrong, I've got this, you're wrong, wrong. And finally, the villager calms everybody down. The reason he has his mouth open is he's yelling at all of them to calm down. And he says, guys, you're all right. Actually, what you're seeing is just one little piece of the elephant. And he proceeds to walk everybody around the elephant and let them touch each of the individual pieces. Then they understand, oh, what we've got here is not just this piece and not just this piece. We've got a lot of different things. Now, where am I going with this? A lot of times at Rice University, I feel like I'm the guy riding the elephant. No commentary on Ektron being an elephant, nothing. They both start with E, but here, what I'm going to talk about today is the fact that I usually end up parking Ektron products in front of a lot of different groups, a lot of different people groups, and they don't know that these other pieces exist. And so what I'd like to do today is I'd like to talk about those 6 different people groups in context of this story. And some of you may be in some of those people groups. Some of you may be riding the elephant and you need some ammo to go home with so that you can kind of point at the other pieces. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So take me out of the picture. We've got the 6 blind men. This is the agenda today. We're just basically going to talk through each one of these. I'm going to introduce the agenda, and then I'm going to talk for about 5 minutes on each one and show you 4 or 5 examples of websites that we've done in each one of these people groups. So the first one I want to talk about is customers and community. Customers and community, they care about raising the awareness of Rice University, and using Ektron products, we've been able to do that. Also, they really want to hold on to more members of Rice community, because when we have alumni are our biggest donors. And so when we have students that come into the university and go out, we want to make sure we capture them, we hold on to them. And electronic resources do that. And Ektron products help us do that. University marketing, we've had more visitors coming to the electronic information about the university since we've used Ektron products than ever before. And really that gets seen in increased applications. So we are a university, we want people to apply, and we want the best and brightest students to apply to us. And so we've got many, many more applications now that we're using Ektron products as our admissions website, and I'll show you a little bit of that later. Information technology management. So we've looked at customers and community, marketing, information technology management. What they want extremely efficient use of internet IT resources. And then we have approval from the campus in the form of customers. Something that is a little bit different about our shop is we are a cost recovery center. So we charge the campus back for the projects that we do. It's a little small business, if you will, inside of Rice University. So when somebody comes to us, they could have gone outside. They could go to a vendor, they could go to another software development shop in Houston, Texas, where we're based, but they choose to come to us, and mostly because of the fact that we've been able to use these resources really, really well and really efficiently. So we consider more and more customers from the campus as a stamp of approval. Next, content providers. I share this statistic with some people, and I just want to unpack it and make sure people understand it. We have over 300 installations active of CMS products from Ektron. So that's separate installations using separate databases. We're using virtual machines, and we'll show a little bit of that later. But those are separate installations, not a multi-site. Some of those are multi-sites that have 20 sites or so in them. But 300 installations separate, and then 1,500 users, content providers at Rice University. So we've been through a lot. We've done a lot with the product, and that's some of what I'll show you today. Designers and developers. So what they're looking for and what we've been able to do is use Ektron products as a software development platform. We do online application development integrated with systems both inside and outside, and I'll talk a little bit about what is inside and outside means, and using common tools, obviously the .NET framework and Visual Studio and things like that. Next, systems administrators and support. So our infrastructure, obviously with that many sites, is pretty significant. And as we add more and more sites, we have to continue to do that. And what we've been able to do is scale up without really adding too many other resources. Now, whether those resources feel like they're taxed more is a different story, but we've been able to do that. So again, the agenda today is basically talking through these 6 groups. Everybody still with me? You get where we're going? Okay. When they asked me to speak, I I talked about what I would be doing, and it's just said, tell your story. Pick 20 or 30 sites that you've done and talk a little bit about each one, and that's what we're going to do here. Hopefully along the way you also learn a little bit about Rice University, because I feel obligated to, whenever I speak at something like this, to tell a little bit about Rice. So I'm going to do that as well. So the first group I want to talk about is customers and community. Rice University is ranked 17th overall by US News, and then the first in quality of life and the first in the happiest students, which is kind of interesting, and that's a Princeton Review result. We've got Kiplinger's best value, number 4, and then Consumer Reports 3rd in the top values among private schools. So the customers and the community are basically the folks that are coming up with those results, right? So we have to portray ourselves to those customers, to those new students, to those parents, to all of those groups. And they can be potential students, they can be potential faculty, even news organizations, research institutes that are looking for experts inside the university. We have to push all of our information out to them in such a way that it can go all over the world in any discipline. And hopefully we've been able to do that using these products that come up with these rankings. So here's just some sites that we've done. This is the university homepage. And I'll talk a little bit about branding, because if we've got 300 separate sites, there's 300 different ways that it could go, right? And there's probably 300 different ways that we've been able to do some things. But this Rice branding here, we have this shield up at the top, we have the Rice, we have it on a white background. We've got the blue and the gray, which are school colors. And then we've got these gateways across the top, parents, undergraduates, grad students, and those are all in CMS 400. The templates that we're using for the Rice branding can be shared, obviously, across all of the different sites that we've done. And if you have them in a multi-site or something like that, we've been able to do that really well. But most of because anybody at the university can do anything they want to do with their money, they're basically silos. So they come to us and they say, hey, I want a website and I want it to look like that, but just a bit different. And different enough that they need a new template. So we end up taking the base and redoing it. However, you can obviously share content across a lot of them. So things like the news, things like highlights, things like calendar of events, we have those centralized in other systems, and we have those centralized in a place where we can just pull them and put them in any of the sites, no matter what they look like. We can bring those things in. And so when you're looking across the university and when I'm showing you some of these sites, you will see the Rice branding on a lot of them. There's some of them that you won't see the Rice branding. And that's just a template that we've kind of changed based on the requirements. Like I said, we are a cost recovery center. And so that cost recovery works in a couple different ways. Somebody can come to us and say, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, I want you to be bright yellow, and I don't want the Rice shield anywhere. And we say, okay. Public Affairs is not really going to be happy with that. We would like to, refer you over to that group, and you can see what the Rice branding looks like. And then if they lay down money and say, no, we want you to do it that way, then we do it that way. So, so you'll see some sites that we've done a different way. The business school. I gave you some statistics. The executive MBA program at Rice University is ranked #1 in the country. I'm a graduate of that, so I'm plugging it for everybody in here. This is the business school website, and if you're catering to business school students, if your potential group is someone who might want to go get an MBA or a full-time MBA, the professional program, an executive MBA. Those folks are used to seeing flashy things, right? They're used to going and seeing movies. They're used to listening to good music. They're used to seeing things that are very, very well done. And so in these types of systems, in these types of sites, you have to do things perfectly. You have to do things really well. Mobile, you have to have a site that works mobile. You have to have an app. You have to have lots of different things. You'll notice the social media bar at the bottom. You'll see, you guys know what all this stuff is. Rotating images. Down in the left-hand corner, there's a news blog, an events calendar. There's some video embedded in the front screen. You can see all that kind of stuff. And that's what people are used to seeing, and that's what we have to put out there for our constituents. Kiosks. So at the university, this is a picture of our coffee shop in the central quad. And you can notice up in the right-hand corner, we've got some kiosks there. Delivering content to those kiosks that looks just like what the business school website looks like or what Rice University's website looks like is very important to us. But because when you come, you associate that with Rice University. And what we want is to get the same content. If you saw an event on the website and you're on campus and you say, I think I want to go to that event, you want to see that event basically looking the same way on these kiosks. And so we deliver content to the kiosks as well. And then this goes to holding on to the alumni. This is a website, we call it RUBPA, it's the Baseball Players Association. And the baseball players, once they graduate, can become a member of this site and really follow baseball at Rice. They can connect with each other. They've all got profiles. They're sharing. So it's kind of like an intranet, basically, for baseball players that played at Rice University. And so we are able to connect them not only internally with this, but then connect on social media platforms and really tie into a lot of things that are happening here. So, like I said, the customers and community, we've been able to raise the awareness globally, and then we are using things like this to hold on to members of the Rice community. Everybody follow me so far? Yeah, so that's one group that I kind of wanted to talk about. The next group was university marketing. University marketing, more and more visitors are coming to that electronic information. So here's a little bit more of tidbit. We won't belabor these points, but a little bit more information about Rice. This, the football stadium that we've got was home to the Houston Oilers at one point, and it's the only stadium that a Super Bowl has been played in, the only college stadium, sorry, that a Super Bowl has been played in. Heisman was our first football coach, and in that stadium, John F. Kennedy gave the "we want to go to the moon" speech. And that was it's a historic area, it's a historic site, and the university marketing, because our football team is not exactly the greatest football team. University marketing has to spin certain things, and you all know this, right? If you're in the marketing, you just put a little label on things that are a little bit differently. These are the kind of things you want to highlight when you're coming to our football, to play football, or you like football. These are the kind of things you want to highlight. And so our marketing department, basically, and marketing and public affairs, they really need to have tools to be able to push out content to people in the way that they need to see the content. So we talked about personalized content. And if you've got students who are interested in bioengineering, that is nothing like football, right? So directed content and being able to know what a student wants by having them fill out some type of form and then capturing that information, and then when they hit the admissions site, showing them lab pictures instead of cheerleading photos, showing them pictures and news stories about bioengineering and not about our racquetball courts in the rec center. Those are very important things to note. And so that is some of the stuff that we can do with the personalized content inside CMS 400. Another site that we've got, engineering. Now engineering, the reason I put this up there is really because they are heavy users of analytics. They like to look at everybody that is coming to their site, and they like to look at why and what they're hitting. And they like to get all that information, and it really seems like female engineers like our department, our engineering department. And that has been seen and crafted and looked at. And so pictures and things that go up to the website really push that fact that we have a lot of undergraduate women doing research. We have a lot of faculty that are women in the engineering department. And so a lot of that stuff is here. So we push out content like that a lot. And you'll notice here on this website, student life, alumni spotlight, events, news. Again, all the things that you're kind of used to seeing. The news is a centralized service. The events is centralized. The alumni spotlight is a widget that we added in there. Student life, same kind of widget. They put videos, they put pictures, and these rotate, right? So if you come to this screen, you hit refresh, you're going to see a different one. And depending on who you are, you might see something that's a little different than the person sitting next to you. Social sciences, they have done a lot of customer engagement. The marketing department here, and I say department loosely because there's only so many resources that you can have inside a university department. So the folks that are creating all the content or working on the marketing as well, they've done a lot to integrate with newsletters online, Facebook. They've done a lot of different things, and you'll notice the find us on Facebook and everything else. This group, Social Sciences, is written in Page Builder. And they've been able to use a lot of different pieces, parts, and widgets to plug in and test their sites to see who's coming, how they're coming, and then they'll shift some stuff around or have us shift some stuff around based on what they're seeing, and they've been able to tailor it. And one of the important things you'll notice right there at the bottom of the nav bar is contribute. That is something that they really want to drive people to, and that's very important for a university to be able to have some type of donations always flowing in, and this website and this group has done a really good job of pushing people towards that. And then notice the lack of Rice University branding. This is the Chow Center. And they make heavy use of things like landing pages. They alias almost everything they do. They advertise those aliases a lot for all of the things that they do, and they track a lot of that so that they can tell which exhibits are more likely to be successful than other exhibits, which ones people like more, and then they kind of gear their content towards the exhibits that people are going to like. So that's university marketing. The next one I want to talk about is information technology management. Interesting story, won't go into it that much, but William Marsh Rice, which started the Institute, what was known as Rice Institute at the time, he made a decision in 1891 to leave all his money to start this Rice University. And in 1900, he was found dead. And it was ruled that he just died in his sleep. And a check then was given to the bank to take a lot of the money that he had and give it to his lawyer. And so, interestingly, the lawyer's name on the check was misspelled by the lawyer himself. So there was a little bit of an investigation. A very, very nice bank teller who caught the discrepancy, who called a couple people, realized that a lot of folks were nervous around this, including the attorney, the lawyer, and realized that that check had been forged, that he was actually killed in his sleep. The attorney had coerced the butler, this is true, the butler did it, had coerced the butler to kill him in his sleep, and and they had drafted a new will to leave all the money to the attorney. So that was all found out. And in 1904, the $4.6 million was given to Rice University to start the university, and that's what makes up our endowment today. So really interesting story. This is Willie's statue. We affectionately call him Willie. Willie's statue is here, and that's in the center of the quad, and his remains are actually inside of that casing inside of our university. So, why do I tell the story? Well, it's a rich history. It's something that we want to continue to tell. It's something that when we are worried about money, when we are in a downturn, when we have not too many resources to worry about, when we don't have the resources that we'd like, when the endowment takes a turn, we need to make very, very efficient work of our resources. We need to make sure that our people are working as efficiently as possible. And one of the ways we do that is standardizing on technology. Looking at the Ektron products, we've been able to implement those specifically, and we talk about custom design, web development. Our group is cost recovery, talked a little bit about that already. We charge the campus back for the projects that we do. So we are not centrally funded. So the group that we have, 15 plus or minus full-time staff members, about 9 students, made up of those full-time staff members made up of a project manager. We've got some developers, we've got graphic designers. All those folks are there to do that. And we are charging the campus back for the work that we do. So we are just like, again, a small business. If I walk out and somebody says, I want you to do this, we write a scope of work, we write a quote, and then we sign that back and forth with them and then get started on the work. So we really need to make efficient use of Rice's money. And here's kind of some sites that show that. So Rice News, I talked a little bit about reusable content. Rice News is something that we can pull back into other websites. Widgets, this is a faculty widget. It's basically something that we write and we put on the server and other people can use. Everybody wants to highlight their faculty members. So on the home page, we've got maybe a rotating spotlight for faculty. So every time you hit the home page, you get introduced to somebody new. When you look at all faculty, that would be the upper left-hand corner. That's the all faculty page. And then you've got the detailed faculty page. That actually ties in to a faculty information system, a centralized system that we've got. And you can pull that information in and then edit it as you want to about that faculty, but the main information stays the same. So there's a lot of implications for use of that for other things that you all are doing. School of Humanities. I talk about scalability with this one because the School of Humanities came to us and said, I want to pay for all of our sites to be put in CMS 400. And so that's 20, at the time it was 29 sites. And we did all of those with a shared template. And then they said, the Humanities Department said, we want to pay X amount for each site. But then if they want to do anything different, anything off of this template, then they'll pay for it themselves. And so we got these 29 different sites, basically, that a lot of people were sharing the content, but they've got their own little thing that they're doing. And so you can see on the left-hand side, the departments sort of scroll up and down and do that. Now we are, today, starting the project to upgrade all of those 20-some sites to 8.5. We have a couple of those in development, and those are happening between now and winter break. And then we're going to bring the entire humanities department and all of the users in humanities into our IT building, into a hands-on kind of area where we've got a lot of computers, and we're going to do training for the first couple weeks of January on the 8.5 product. And so all these will be upgraded, and hopefully we'll have a big party on January 15th with the Humanities Department. Next is e-commerce. A lot of you are using that. You know, there's not too much use for buy this t-shirt at Rice University, right, online. But we do have a lot of donation sites, and we integrate these things with a gateway we call TouchNet. There's a system called TouchNet. It's kind of like Authorize.net, if some of you are familiar with payment gateways. And we use this heavily, all the forms and everything, to be able to link into e-commerce. So that is management. Content providers. As I said, there's 300-some sites with the content providers. Rice is the birthplace of nanotechnology, if you didn't know. Nobel Peace Prize, nanotubes. Nano trucks are kind of interesting. We were working on the nano trucks. If you think about a nano truck, think about it as like a cement mixer a little bit. And instead of cement, it's got medicine. And so you inject it into the body somewhere. And on the front bumper of the truck, it's got a chemical that attracts it to the problem area. It got a chemical that attracts it to the disease, to the particle that is giving you a problem. So the truck drives itself through your body and finds that. Now when it hits it, a chemical reaction ensues and it dissolves the truck. So the medicine is delivered directly to the problem area that you've got, instead of getting it injected to your entire bloodstream and having all kinds of issues with all kinds of problems with side effects and things. That's the nano truck kind of idea that's going on right now. And it's working, and they're using it. With things like that, you have to put it out quickly. You can't be waiting for a day once we figured out this happened. You can't be waiting a day. You want that out immediately. And so these content providers are dealing with very fast-moving fields. They want to implement a site. They want it up quickly. They want trained on it. Plus, obviously, it has to look good, right? We can't just put something out there that doesn't look good. Here's some sites. NSBRI, they are all concerned about the health and wellness of astronauts. So wireless technology to be able to track heart rate of astronauts while they're in space. The English as a second language. You know, I showed NSBRI, they're pretty quick. English as a second language, this obviously is using multi-site support. And some of the information here, really talking about continuing studies, they have a lot of classes and courses that they want to get out to people. And so we have to give them the capability to categorize all of their courses, to have people be able to get online and purchase them. There's packages, there's all that sort of thing. And so continuing studies department, we wire these things up with some of their back-end technologies that they've got to do course management and other things. And so again, this is another instance of us using Ektron products as really a software development platform and being able to tie into back. You know, a lot of people come to us and say, hey, I want a website. And then when I go and speak to them, they really want this huge system with this little tiny skin of a website on top of it. And so we need to be able to use whatever products we have to be able to tap back down into that and use it. All page builder, all the time for Kinder Institute. You know, lots of different things. You can see widgets, faculty spotlight, there's welcome, there's the what's news, there's an event down here. All that stuff, being able to give users, now, most of you have seen Page Builder or used it. When folks come to us and I'm shaking their hand, as he said, and I'm saying, oh, sure, we can do that for you, I'm gauging whether or not they're a Page Builder user or not. So we don't give people that can shoot themselves in the foot things to shoot themselves in the foot with, right? So I will do kind of an assessment. What's your computer user like? Oh, yeah, how much do you, oh, okay. And we know whether we are all smart forms all the time or we can let them in the Page Builder. There are some sites that all they're doing is filling out the smart forms, hitting enter, and they're never touching a web page at all, right? I mean, that's it. That's all they do. With other ones, we'll let them into Page Builder. We'll let them do all sorts of things. We let them into their CSS. And then there's some groups that we actually have said, you know what, you need your own employee to do this. And we've helped them hire somebody, sent them to the CMS 400 developer training, and then brought them back and had them take over their site. Their own virtual servers, their own access, everything that they want to do, and they just call us if they need help. So that's some of the things that we've been able to do here. And then bioengineering, you know, I just put this up because there's been a couple instances, a couple sites where scheduling content has been very important. We don't have the resources to go write a new, what we call an update. There's this who knew thing going around Rice, where it's like, who knew this, who knew that? And what they'd like to do is push that out weekly. Well, they don't have the resources to rewrite those weekly, so they'll hire somebody, a person to go write those, a marketing person, hire them for 2 weeks, write 50 of them, and then put them in the system and schedule them to push out every Monday morning. So that every Monday it looks like a who knew came up and they spent time doing that. And then they can preempt them if they need to. You know, something else came up and they push it out. But there's things like that happening. So these content providers think that's very efficient. You know, I updated my site, but not really. I mean, I updated it 6 months ago and it's continuing to update itself. So they're real happy with that. Designers and developers, this is close to my heart. This is Rice University. You can see it's about a 3-mile run around the campus. And with all the different buildings and all the different things going on there, we've got a 5.1 student ratio. It's number 1 in the top 100 schools. Just another plug there for Rice University in case you didn't see it. 3,500 undergrads, 2,000 graduate students, 2,000 staff, 600 faculty. You can read that as well as I can. And I'm very important down to the one angry owl. That's our mascot. A very angry owl. He's a mean owl. The designers and developers need to be able to get projects through their schedule very quickly. And so what does that mean? Here is Centennial. Centennial site is something that when a donor donates money, if it's a significant portion of money, they need to see their donation and their picture and the fact that we're naming a building after them very quickly up on the website. And sometimes that involves us creating brand new templates to just recreate the whole entire site around that. So you notice here we've got a video and we've got a challenge, we've got some different things here. But the Centennial Campaign site is one that I think came in really quickly and went out really quickly. It takes us about 2 weeks to put up a site, and that is our development time. Figuring out what people want to put up in the site, that takes a lot longer, right? That's on the front end. I tell people about a month and a half to figure that out. After we shake hands, about a month until we can start to develop the site. And then about a month and a half to enter content, because we don't do a lot of that. We have those 9 students working for us and they're doing content, but we have them doing some content for some people, but for the most part, we have our users do that. And so I quote people about 3 months to get a site up and running. Now, it's add and subtract based on, you want this widget, we need to custom code this and all that, but that's kind of what I quote people. This is a really interesting site. You've seen City Search or Folders or Frommers or something like that. Rice University sanctioned basically an internal one of those. This is on the left-hand side, all the places that you can eat or lots of different things, along with student ratings. And on the right-hand side, you can browse all those places. And then they also find a place to live is up there. So the realtors in the area can log in, not as CMS users, but we've given them kind of their own interface based on the API to be able to go in and edit their listings and show that to the students, and then the students can get in and contact them and go figure that out. So this is a really interesting, heavily customized site. Obviously, the pink is not Rice branded, right? And I'm not sure that this guy even knows they drew a funny hat on him. But the School of Architecture is basically one of those external connection type things. They wanted everything. Flickr, they wanted a slideshow and a slideshow. They wanted YouTube. They wanted all kinds of things. And so they are just very active in every external thing that you can imagine. And then internal interfaces, this is the construction site. We tap into the facilities construction database to be able to show the projects that they've got going on. This has got a Google map on it that places points based on where it is. So all the construction things that are going on campus are pushed out through this CMS 400 site based on the database that facilities has that we kind of know nothing about, but we just pull enough information to get the information out. And you can see across the top, they're hard to read, but it says project updates, schedule, so people know when it's happening, media for pictures of the sites, and we have some live webcams that we're doing, and then the project team, like who's on the team and who you contact if you have an issue or a problem with the construction. Lastly, systems administrators. So this is kind of interesting. One of PC Magazine's top 20 wired colleges, and we've got a lot of really big hardware on campus. We've got an off-campus data center that is pictured here in the lower left, and that's hurricane-proof. We've tested it a couple times already, unfortunately. Systems administrators need the stable, redundant, well-secured, well-supported systems, EBC troubleshooting, vendor support. And we have most of that from what we've got, right? I think our stable environment, the fact that we've got things that are redundant back and forth, obviously well-supported from Ektron clients and customers. Here's kind of an environment. SQL Server backends. We do everything on virtual machines. So our development environment looks like this. And then we async to a production environment. We've got 2 load balance servers. We've got our SQL Server in the back end. And then we do some stuff out of Oracle. We pull some feeds like news and events and things that have been written in Oracle. We pull those from there. That's kind of basically our environment. Now, that is one environment, and we do 30 or 40 sites on that. So do the math. We have 300 plus or minus 320 sites. So all of these things are working in virtual environments. We have multiple instances of these going around campus. Why? Because you can pay for your parking ticket or dispute your parking ticket online. And if you get a parking ticket at Rice University and you go on here and the dispute my parking ticket is not working, I get a phone call. And so we need to have redundant hardware. We need to have everything up and running all the time. It has to be working. And this is one of those sites another one of those sites. You notice the little iPhone, there's the nav bar. They basically came to us and said, hey, I like the iPhone. Can you make our navigation bar look like the iPhone? And so that is a skinned Ektron menu item there. So it's kind of an interesting thing that we did. Another site that doesn't look like Rice, you notice the Rice University up in the upper white part there. The Rice University logo is the second one. We have all those institutions relying on this site. It cannot go down. And then, of course, I've talked to a lot of you. I know Ektron, vendor support, tickets, all that's going really well. But phone calls and things to some of the folks that are in this room have helped out really well. And so I think the user community is doing really well. The forums online, giving code back and things, that has worked really well for us. Doing 300 plus or minus sites, there's a lot of needs, a lot of things that we need. So that was my 6 groups. Back to the story a little bit. The 6 groups, hopefully, if you're in one of them, you've kind of been walked around and seen some other ones. And I'll bring this guy back in. So, and if you're this guy, hopefully you can go back with a little bit more ammo, a little bit more information about Ektron products and why they're great, why each different part needs to know a little bit more about another part. And hopefully you learned a little bit about Rice University in the process as well. So my contact information is going to be all over the place, right? I mean, you can find me pretty easily. The next slide actually has it as well. If you have anything that you want to talk about from anything that I've said today, I'm always looking for collaborations. Who knows, you and I might be working on the next big thing together with an Ektron product. So make sure you give me a call, make sure you contact me. That's it. Thank you very much. I actually think we have time for a few questions, and I'm going to be around a lot, obviously, and you can find me at dinner, you can find me after this session, but if anybody has any immediate questions that they think the entire group would want to know, why don't you ask that? Yeah, and we've got some runners with microphones, so they're going to pass those out.
Thank you, Jeff. Very inspiring. Can you tell us how you handle training that many users? You've got a lot of content administrators. It sounded like you've got some in-person events, but how do you maintain and support such a large user base of CMS offers?
The training that we do, so student resources are many at Rice University, right? So we can grab student resources. We have them do Captivate videos for all of the main things that we've got going on. So we push people towards that. And then we have, the manual for CMS 400 is pretty thick. We've boiled that down to about 12 pages of screenshots, and here's how you do the main basic stuff. And that's what we use. And then per widget, we've kind of developed our own one-pager on this is how you do that one widget. And whatever people want, as far as we want this widget, we just kind of slip those in behind that document, and we give that to them. We have office hours. Any of those users can come to us on Tuesday afternoons and show up and just say, hey, I need help with this one little thing. And then we dispatch students for one-on-ones. But like the humanities department, we're going to bring that whole department in, and hopefully after that week, they know what they're doing. So it's really multi-pronged. It's those online videos for common questions, it's documentation, full user training, and then one-on-ones where we push people out to things. Any other questions? Yes. What versions of Ektron are we using? I'll repeat that. And versions of Ektron. Does anybody here know Empower? Anybody? Empower. I got one person in the back. Well, yes. I'm sure you would know Empower. We still have sites in Empower. And so if you all knew what that was, there would be a collective, oh. from the community, but you guys don't know what it is. Mostly 7.6 and up, with some 8.5 now. So, but we still have some sites in some Cold Fusion things that are eWeb Edit Pro, and yeah, we've still got some stuff hanging around. Anybody else? Questions? Thoughts? No. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. Find me later if you have any other questions. Thank you very much.